Calipatria State Prison would first open its doors in 1992 and today houses over 2,500 minimum to maximum security custody individuals. On November 10th, 2025, at approximately 10:20 a.m., staff would respond to incarcerated persons Eric Gonzalez and Javier A. Torres attacking fellow incarcerated individual Alex Mercado on an exercise yard. Another staff was immediately able to respond, utilizing chemical agents to quell the attack, and officers were able to restrain Gonzalez and Torres in order to initiate life-saving measures on Mercado, who would be transported to an outside medical facility. Alex Mercado would be pronounced deceased at 11:46 a.m.
Wilmington area for 3 decades, a man tied to the Mexican mafia and murder, that name Grajeda. And Chris Blatchford has the latest in this family album of crime.
Daniel Grajeda, known as Peanut, enters the courtroom cuffed and waist chained. He's wearing an orange jail jumpsuit that marks him as a high-risk inmate because of his family's extensive history with the Mexican mafia. Here at this Wilmington apartment building nearly 2 years ago, Peanut shot and killed a man for, as he saw it, disrespecting a relative's boyfriend. Shot twice and left for dead was 28-year-old Johnny Carbajal. Peanut's uncle, Sinon Grajeda, known as Chirillo, was also there. He, too, was convicted of murder last June. Sinon, a black hand prominently tattooed on his shoulder, is a validated member of the Mexican mafia. Leo Duarte is a longtime gang specialist with the Department of Corrections.
We're going back to, I would say, the early 80s. They've been involved with the Mexican mafia. And I've tracked and monitored them for years.
Chirillo, acting as his own attorney, gets his sentencing delayed until November.
A term of 25 years to life.
But his nephew, Peanut, gets consecutive sentences that amount to 62 years to life in prison. He will join his 2 uncles, Daniel Cuate Grajeda and Tomas Grajeda, known as Wino. Both members of the Mexican mafia who are doing life without the possibility of parole. Also, his 2 mafia associate cousins, Arthur Shady Grajeda, also doing life without, and 3-striker Thomas Little Wino Grajeda, who is doing 45 to life.
The ruthless murderers.
Peanut makes no comment at his sentencing and is clearly following in the family's footsteps as he saunters out of the courtroom. A source close to the investigation tells us it is a safe bet that Daniel Peanut Grajeda will spend the rest of his life in prison. In Long Beach, Chris Blatchford, Fox 11 News.
Prisons are bursting at the seams. The people who work there have tough jobs. Correction officer is a job many men would fear, let alone women. Last week, I was granted unprecedented access to tell the stories of some brave female officers who face mortal danger every day.
I've had inmates in my face telling me that they were going to kill me or stab me. I've had inmates doing sexual misconduct to where I've had to write them up.
Calipatria State Prison, maximum security. It's located in the sweltering desert of the Imperial Valley, 180 feet below sea level, but way above capacity. 4,000 inmates jammed into a place designed for 2,000. The mood is tense. People are still recovering from a riot here 2 years ago. 24 officers were hurt. It didn't end until an inmate took a fatal bullet fired by an officer in that tower.
August 18th.
Okay, August 18th, 2005, and an inmate stabbed somebody who has the very same job as you in the head.
He was stabbed, he was patting down, and the inmate had a weapon. So the inmate turned around and stabbed the officer.
With that terrible day serving as a constant, ominous backdrop, our prison tour begins. We're told to refer to officers by last name only. We're warned against running across the prison yard. Just that is enough to incite the inmates. We are reminded of a sobering state policy. If we are taken hostage, they will not negotiate for our release. And before we enter the next building, even more drastic security measures are taken. They call this the hole. The baddest of the bad are housed here, and the level of tension is reflected accordingly. Anyone who enters here is required to wear a stab-proof vest like this. And any time an inmate is removed from the cell, he's shackled at the hands and often at the feet.
We have murderers, we have rapists, we have people who committed robbery, people who battered people with great bodily injury, carjacking, gang type.
And why do you always wear gloves?
A lot of the inmates here have hepatitis C, some have HIV, and then not only that, but because I'm a female, and these are male inmates, just a way of not, having skin to skin.
No arousal.
Right, exactly.
Of the 20,000 correction officers in the state, less than 1/4 are women. When females were first hired in the 70s, some of the men quit in protest. These female officers have come a long way since then.
It's a dangerous unit. We have a staff assault of inmates in here, or a lot of these inmates are in here for stabbing other inmates. So we have a close, tight-knit group here.
And they need to be tight-knit. One mistake, and you could be dead.
Rodriguez!
Half of the inmates here are lifers. The officers arrange a meeting with one of them. We are allowed to talk to him as long as he's inside a cage. He's a murderer who's been in and out of jail since he was 12.
And what is it like to have them be some of your only daily contact with other human beings?
Well, I mean, I'm a man. I love women. You see them, but I'm not no sexual predator or nothing like that. You just it's like having a steak or something you can't eat. Always right there in front of you. You know what I mean?
After our talk, Armstrong cuffs the murderer and leads him back to his cell. But make no mistake, he's still a threat. He's known for making lethal weapons out of the most common objects. Time to leave the hole.
Thank you, Seaborn.
You guys have a good day.
Armstrong's shift is over. On the way home, she throws on a shirt to cover her uniform. She doesn't like to advertise where she works. And once inside, the mother of two is transformed. She's like any other mom, cooking dinner. But she also takes time to comfort a son who worries about his mother at work.
I think that she's checking the cellars and a prison guy is trying to get her.
And that broke my heart. I told him, you don't need to worry about me. You're too little to worry about me. I'm a big girl. I'll take care of myself. I'll make sure I come home.
Over the years, the male correction officers...
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Greenlit Gang TV. Hope y'all having a blessed day. Really quick, before jumping into the video, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It goes a long way for the video and the channel itself. Okay, so I was out of town for a few days. Otherwise, I probably would have dropped this sooner. We're going to be talking about the most recent murder to occur within the CDCR, and that was at Calipatria State Prison just a couple days ago on November 10th, 2025. Two individuals would attack a guy on the exercise yard. So first, we're going to start with the CDCR press release regarding the attack. And then I was able to get some really good information on one of the alleged attackers. He's that Westside Wilmas gang member. His name was Eric Gonzalez. He's actually kind of the younger. He's the one without the tattoos. And I would say probably the most violent one is Eric Gonzalez, who, when you look at the three pictures, I'm not saying tattoos mean everything, but he's kind of the more unassuming of the three. And I would say he's probably the most violent out of all three of them. And again, he's the Westside Wilmas gang member. That's why I put up the video of Peanut there. He's from Westside Wilmas, and then obviously the Grajeda family and their long, rich history of the Mexican mafia and in the streets of California. But first, let's start with the CDCR press release on November 10th, 2025. California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation officials are investigating the November 10th, 2025 death of an incarcerated person at Calipatria State Prison as a homicide. On November 10th, 2025, at approximately 10:20 a.m., staff responded to incarcerated persons Eric Gonzalez, Javier Torres, attacking a fellow incarcerated individual, Alex Mercado, on an exercise yard. Staff immediately responded, utilizing chemical agents to quell the attack. Officers immediately restrained Gonzalez and Torres and removed them from the yard to initiate life-saving measures on Mercado and activate 911. Mercado was transported to an outside medical facility where he was pronounced deceased by the Imperial County Coroner, 11:46 a.m. When they talk about these outside medical facilities, God, you got to think about these hospitals that are probably getting these prisoners and getting these inmates. I'm sure it's something that they're just used to at this point. They're probably getting the call from, because a lot of these prisons, they're not right around the corner. You got to go a fair distance to get to a lot of them. They're huge, huge facilities. And a lot of times they're out in the middle of, I don't want to say nowhere, but they are. So as an inmate, and this goes to what we're talking about with all the violence and basically the lack of oversight and whatever's going on within the CDCR, we're approaching 100 deaths under Jeff McCumber, Gavin Newsom, this new way of running the California prison system. And if you have a loved one who is working in the prisons or who is locked up in the prisons, it's not an exaggeration, man. Like, something's going to happen. It's just, and you should be upset. You should be mad. And like we talked about, like we just said, you get attacked in there, whether you're working there or you're an inmate or your loved one's an inmate or a loved one who's in there working. Take some time to get to these outside medical facilities. And I always laugh, too, how it says that staff immediately responded. It's like, you don't know the staff immediately responded. You're just going off their press release the day of the attack. Okay, continue to read. No staff or additional incarcerated people were injured. Officers recovered one improvised weapon at the scene. Gonzalez and Torres have been placed in restricted housing pending investigation. Mercado, the victim in this case, Alex Mercado, 31, was received from Los Angeles County on September 9th, 2022. Was given 13 years for attempted second-degree murder and assault with a semi-automatic firearm with enhancement for use of a firearm. Javier Torres, one of the alleged attackers, 27, and this is the one I'm just like, oh my God, man. Received from LA County on May 4th, 2023. May 10th, 2024. 27 years old. Who was given 6 years for carjacking. So you go in on a 6-year bid. You're a year in as a second striker. Not going to do the full 6 years, and now you're done. Now you are done. Now you're murder 1, murder 2, 20 years plus. You're booked, man. It's insane. Eric Gonzalez, all right? The one who I said probably the most violent, the most unassuming out of the three from Westside Wilmas. 13, 26 years old, was received from Los Angeles County on May 4th, 2023. He had the big one. He was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole for first-degree murder with an enhancement for use of a firearm. We're going to get into his story just a second. So he's in there doing life, so he don't care. He's going to come in, put in work, make his name, make his bones, and try to rise up through the ranks. And really quick, I did say I would try to do this in other videos when I researched these California prisons, these attacks. The research I could find, it's so hard nowadays between GP and SNY. It said that what I read was that the majority of Calipatria is a GP facility, but it has a single unit for SNY. So, I'm still going to get comments that go, BS, it's still 50-50, or BS, it's, but that's, that's what I read. Okay, now, Westside Wilmas 13. We're going to get into basically the background of Eric Gonzalez because as we've talked about, guys, I like getting you the background information. Wilmas 13 is an almost exclusively Mexican-American gang from Wilmington, Los Angeles, California that is controlled by, who else, guys? I'll give you one guess. Who controls Wilmas 13? Same answer as always. Inmate, the Mexican Mafia. It has two sub-gangs, Westside Wilmas and Eastside Wilmas. Excuse me, who low-level members are rivals, but whose top-level members report to the Mexican Mafia. The Wilmas 13 gangs are led through the means of the contraband The Wilmas 13 gangs are led through means of contraband electronic devices by members of the Mexican Mafia who are in the California state prisons. I think that's a little interesting where on the streets, East Side, West Side, huge rivals, right? It says, I just think this speaks a lot to the power of the Mexican Mafia. So on the streets, East Side, West Side, rivals, right? It's on site. But you get to the pen, and now you have one goal. And that one goal is to do whatever the hell the Mexican Mafia tells you to do. And I jumped over to an article here on a little bit more of a breakdown, all right? This is just on a different website. This is on the United Gangs website. I like to shout out my sources on these. United Gangs are a great page. Go check them out for all of your information for this kind of stuff. The Wilmas 13 are also known as the Wilmas Gang or the Wilmington Gang. Is predominantly, but not exclusively, a Mexican-American criminal organization that's consistent of three subsets. So this says three subsets, known as East Side Wilmas, West Side Wilmas, and North Side Wilmas, located in the Wilmington neighborhood of South LA. The Wilmas are the most notorious and oldest Latino street gang in the Wilmington district of Los Angeles. This gang has been around long before the creation of the Mexican Mafia, with history dating back to the 50s. The Eastside Wilmas gang originated on the east side of Wilmington around L Street and Hyatt Avenue. Avalon Boulevard acts as the borderline between Eastside and Westside Wilmas. The Eastside Wilmas have approximately 650 active gang members with several cliques, such as the Ghost Town Locos, Hyatt Street Locos, Mejar Locos, Insane Mexican Gang, and the L Street Maniacs. The Ghost Town Locos clique of the Eastside Wilmas share the Dana Strand projects with the Eastside Pain Bloods, a predominantly black gang who mainly feud with the Crip gangs located in Long Beach and San Pedro region of LA. The Eastside Wilmas are known to sport the color red, and the Westside Wilmas are known to sport the color blue. The Westside Wilmas gang originated on the west side of Wilmington, are ethnically mixed, consistent of Mexican-American and few African-Americans, as well as a couple Caucasians. Woo! We got a couple in there. The Westside Wilmas are west of Avalon Boulevard, Pacific Coast Highway, and Anaheim Boulevard. One of the WSW main cliques is the Whitehall Park Locos, who are known for committing acts with assault rifles such as AK-47s, and that does go into the Northside Wilmas gangs were established on the north side of Wilmington. Parts of the neighborhood extends into the Carson region of LA. Northside Wilmas are small compared to their counterparts, the Eastside Wilmas and the Westside Wilmas. Okay, it's interesting. You know, I try to give you guys good background. All right, our main guy in this, Eric Gonzalez, Westside Wilmas. This is an appeal that was filed after his trial in 2024. This was filed. We're going to go right into this. So the opinion was a jury convicted Eric Gonzalez of 2 counts of first-degree murder and found true a firearm enhancement allegation. This is the facts and the procedural background. Underlying offenses. This is crazy, man. This reads like a movie. In March 2021, Kathy H. found a firearm in her daughter's dresser. Upon finding the gun, Kathy H. called her boyfriend, Alexis Cazares, and I got his picture up for you guys, and asked him to get rid of it. She did not know how Cazares disposed of the gun, which belonged to another guy, Andy Guetta. On July 3rd, 2021, Kathy H. learned that Guetta had been threatening her daughter once he found out the gun was gone. The daughter told Kathy H., Guetta won't stop. He is really mad, Mom. He wants the gun. Cazares overheard this conversation and asked for Guetta's phone number. So this is the boyfriend of Kathy H. He goes, hey, give me, I don't know if she looks at him like her stepdad, whatever, but he goes, hey, give me his number. He's an older guy. So, and to me, this represents, just, and I'm kind of from that too, right? If you want to resolve something, you pick up the phone, you call an individual, and you have a face-to-face conversation. That's just how I am. I know a lot of gang members don't get down like that, but that's just how I am. Cazares called Guetta and identified himself as the young woman's stepdad. Cazares said Guetta should not have left the gun with her. It was gone, and Guetta should consider it a loss. Guetta was not satisfied. He stated that it was not Cazares' gun to get rid of and that they needed to meet up. Cazares arranged for them to meet at his mother's house that evening. Cazares, Kathy H., and her brother, Angel Mandak, drove to the house and waited for Guetta. And I'm just like, man, you know what? If you're... that's crazy. It's just like, man, if you're this guy, Cazares, or Andy Guetta, and it's like, bro, you left the gun at your girl's house, right? Cazares is the mom's boyfriend. He sees a gun in a stepdaughter's room. She's young. Of course, he's going to get rid of it. What are they going to do? Call you up and say, hey, come get your gun, homie? It's like, it's such a selfish, simple-minded way to think, man. Eventually, Guetta showed up with our guy, Eric Gonzalez. Cazares told Guetta that they would talk to him alone and Gonzalez could wait outside. Guetta entered the home and sat on the couch with Kathy H. and Cazares, her boyfriend. Mandak, the brother of the stepdaughter, okay, remember the brother came over, remained in the bedroom so Guetta would not feel on guard. Basically, it's like, hey, you got Kathy and Alexis Cazares. They're talking to Andy Guetta with the girlfriend. Now this brother, Mandak, all right, Angel Mandak, is like, you know what, I'll just hang back. I don't want him to feel like under pressure. So to me, this family seems very nice and respected and respectful. They don't seem like they're going to come out and press you and say, hey, bro, get over it. They're trying to be nice about the situation, okay? But told Kathy H. So basically he tells his mom, Kathy H., he would come out and talk if things would not get resolved. Guetta continued to insist that it wasn't Kathy H's or Cazares' gun to get rid of. He said he wanted another gun or money. Everyone was talking calmly, although Cazares was frustrated. According to Kathy H., neither she nor Cazares threatened Guetta. At some point, Mandak joined the conversation. He also sat on the couch. Mandak shook Guetta's hand and explained that he was Kathy H's brother. I'm sorry, he was the brother, not the son. Kathy H's brother, and had heard what was going on. He told Guetta that he would help him, but would but told him to never contact Kathy H's daughter again, which is going to be his niece. So you have Kathy H, her daughter, whose boyfriend left his gun there, her boyfriend, Alexis Cazares, and the brother of Kathy H, who is going to be the daughter's uncle, Angel Mandak. All right? And Andy Guetta, the guy the boyfriend whose gun got thrown away. And then you got our guy, our defendant, Eric Gonzalez. At the time, they said, hey, wait in the car, bro. It's all good. So Mandak says, hey, Guetta, here's my phone number. Don't ever talk to my niece again. All right? We'll figure this out. They exchanged phone numbers. Angel Mandak then went out on the porch. Kathy H could hear but not see what happened there. Mandak said, quote, he was a striker from Pedro, and Gonzalez said he was troubled from the west side. Kathy H understood this to mean that Gonzalez was part of the gang from Wilmington, the Westside Wilmas. Mandak's statement meant that he was a member of the Rancho San Pedro gang. After a couple of minutes, Gonzalez told Mandak, so Eric Gonzalez then tells Mandak, the ranch ain't wanted here, and that Mandak needed to, quote, make something happen that evening. Basically says, hey, bro, we're not taking this loss. We're not going to wait for you to call my homie here. We're not going to wait for you to call Andy Guetta. Eric Gonzalez says, telling Angel Mandak, you better figure this out right now. Mandak replied that he had discussed the matter with Andy Guetta and that they had arranged something. Eric Gonzalez said, nope, you're going to make something happen, and that ranch ain't wanted here. His tone was loud, and he was not calming down. According to Kathy H., Eric Gonzalez was not trying to be reasonable like Andy Guetta, but instead repeated, quote, the ranch ain't wanted here, motherfucker. Andy Guetta was still in the living room. Mandak was calm and just trying to let Gonzalez know that he is not here for the San Pedro Wilmington thing. After a couple of minutes, Andy Guetta went outside, and his demeanor changed. He seemed to doubt that Andy Mandak would follow through. Angel Mandak. Gonzalez continued to get more aggressive and stated that Angel Mandak needed to, quote, make something happen. Angel Mandak told Andy Guetta that he would call him and would take care of him. Gonzalez continued to say, the ranch ain't wanted here. Mandak replied, I'm 40-something years old. I'm not here for that. During this exchange, Cazares was standing inside the door next to Kathy H. The only thing I will say is if you're not here for that, Angel Mandak, the brother, if you're not here for that, I do get that, hey, man, you're calm, you're respectful, but why would you even say where you're from and Kathy H said she couldn't hear, unless he walked outside and then Eric Gonzalez approached him and said, hey, where are you from? And he just answered, not thinking it would go to the next level, but, I don't know. Kathy H felt that Eric Gonzalez was escalating the situation. She told Southsiders they needed to leave because she felt scared. Southsiders told Guetta they would call him. That's basically her boyfriend. She's telling Alexis Cazares, hey, they need to leave, all right? And Alexis Cazares told Andy Guetta they would call him. It was quiet for a few seconds, and then all hell broke loose. Kathy H heard gunshots coming from outside the house. Kathy H could not see what was going on. Alexis Cazares told her to run. Kathy H ran through the house to the backyard and hid behind a shed. She would testify that she did not see her boyfriend, Alexis Cazares, or her brother, Angel Mandak, with a gun that evening. After a time, Kathy H left the shed and went to the other house on the property to call her other brother. Once she reached him, he told her to go check on Angel Mandak and her boyfriend, Alexis Cazares. Kathy H was still scared and did not check. Police officers and paramedics arrived on the scene. Kathy H did not want to speak with officers and only wanted to see her brother and her boyfriend. She then went to the hospital and was informed early the next morning that they had both died. That's crazy, man. It talks about the evidence and all that, and basically the guns that were found. 9mm semi-auto was loaded with 13 live rounds. The other 40 cal was also loaded and contained 6 live rounds. 40 caliber was recovered near Angel Mandak's body. Wow, shot even into the house. Bullet impacts on the inside of the living room. It said that Eric Gonzalez, his brother Sebastian Gonzalez, was basically parked a couple streets over. So this is something that when I read that the brother came and all that, this was not going to go good from the very beginning. Maybe if they somehow paid him, $300, $400, $500 for a gun, but yeah, that just goes to show you the difference in mindsets right there to me. You got this family that's respectful, that's being nice, bring him in the house. They even had the brother go to the back room because they don't want him to feel too pressed. Shake his hand. Hey, we're going to figure this out. But one guy, and this Andy Guetta guy, he knew. It's like, bringing Eric Gonzalez, what comes with that. Anyway, there you guys have it. Much love, much appreciation. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye.